the fact that it's the only remnants of as in the plaque that were left over from the original locker room that we won all the cups in. So it's a pretty special special door in that sense because it has sentimental value. The other thing you want to look at is the fact that, you know, the dents and the size of the dents, and you know, and the reason that the dents are in the door. It's kind of a funny story to hear how that started, and it became part of our tradition in the locker room. You can never underestimate a time clock in the Oilers locker room, like prior to the game, especially before warm-up. Although warm-up is a fun time, I mean, it's an exciting time. It's time to you know, it's time to go to work. And these guys are like thoroughbreds. They're like racehorses. They're just chomping at the bit to get going. And typically, the team would all go out together, and on the word of the coach, usually Glenn would stick his head out of the coach's office door and say, "Okay, boys, let's go." And they would, the boys would be just sort of waiting for the coach to give them the go-ahead, so they would all go out together. And that's an important thing that, you know, generally we all go together. So everybody gets ready, and they watch the clock adamantly and ready for the signal to go out together, because everybody has their routine more than anything. There are superstitions involved, but more often routine than anything. Typically an hour before the game starts, the music goes off, and it's time for the boys to gather in the locker room to get serious and get thinking about the game. So that's that sort of quiet time right before they go out on the ice. You know, they're walking around, like I say, they're like caged animals. They're thoroughbreds. They're ready to rock, and they're getting a bit antsy, and the time has gone past. The coach hasn't come out. So Koff, as a friendly reminder to wake the coaches up, he didn't really run at the door, but he gave it a good shot, like a really good shot with the butt end of a stick, like enough to rattle the hinges on the door. And then, you know, Slatsy comes out and he's all, what, okay, everybody go out there to, you know. So we all laughed, and it was a bit of a joke. Well, the thing is, we won the game. The next thing you know, it started a bit of a tradition. So the gentle tap that Paul gave, which wasn't so gentle, became it was a fairly solid butt end. The next thing you know, it was a little more solid in the butt end. The next thing you know, it was 2 or 3 strides and a body slam.
Who's doing that?
Well, that was Koff starting out, you know. It was a big joke, and we all laughed, and it was part of our tradition. And then eventually, after Paul left, Esa Tikkanen sort of took over the role. And Esa Tikkanen, as much of a character as you know that he is, well, he couldn't just tap the thing. He'd take a running charge and do a complete body slam. I mean, take a look at the dents. The dents are an inch deep, and that's a metal door.
Go ahead and show me them.
You know, you take a look at the.
So who
you
made, like, that is a huge.
That's
how
a huge.
Much force do you think?
Well, you tell me. That's a butt end of a hockey stick, hammering into the door like this. Bang.
Who do you think made that one?
Well, they all started with, I think, Koff,
so
and
it's
multiple players. Then the traditions just kind of continued.